And it's live.
Okay, welcome everybody to the weekly live stream channeling. Thanks for joining. I'm going to put the link to hop into Zoom in the YouTube comments now. There we go. Welcome, Dante here. Live stream channeling session about to begin. We do this just about every week with some break. You can ask your own questions and you can also type them out. The link is always shared on various social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, and the YouTube community tab. Though the best way to get it is through the email list, which you can find on dantestarshine.com. You can subscribe there and get the updates to get the specific time and date. And I would like to invite everybody to just say in their time zone, what would the best time be, as I've attempted to just go with what the best time zone for me is, but sometimes that doesn't work for everyone here. So I'm curious what would work best for you, and maybe if we see through all of the different viewers, what would be that happy medium point. We can pick a solid time that I could continue with as, adjustments. And so we are going to get started soon. I'm going to stall a little bit because somebody here wants to attend in person, and we'll be here in about 15 minutes. I won't stall that long, I think, though. But I have here the guidebook to Living Love on Earth that was transcribed through about 38 hours of channeling sessions that were catered to some of the most important questions and materials that have come through the Pleiadian Council so far. You can get this on Amazon in print and as a Kindle copy. For this big of a book, it's a pretty good deal at $22. And it's thick and includes many meditations. And you can also purchase through me the audio recordings if you prefer to listen to it in that way. It's a really amazing book with beautiful art from Josh, who is here. And a lot of things to take in. Does anyone want to say anything about the book? We have some proponents of the book here who have read it and enjoyed
brilliant.
it.
Brilliant. Changed my life. What can I say?
Thank you.
Don't hesitate. Just get it. That's what I say. If you're doubting, it's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Literal facilitation of life understanding. It's like just constant download after it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I get something new out of it every time I read through. So it's beautiful.
Yeah, there's a lot here, and it's definitely even something that when I look at it, it's like I see more, even though I channeled it, just because it kind of came through in a spontaneous way. And for example, we have here, it's all question and answer, very conversational, just like these transmissions. You can read that. What is the relationship between love and gratitude, between love and acceptance? All frequencies in your world exist on an emotional scale. Love is the positive side of the scale. You could, if you wanted to, call it unconditional love. And that way, to denote love as something different than unconditional love, mechanically speaking. Yet knowing that in your world, love has many other associations that contribute you to think it is something other than what unconditional love is. So love, or unconditional love, is on the positive side. Everything is built out of unconditional love. The best definition for the positive side of the scale would be awareness of unconditional love. If we really describe mechanically what the opposite side of the scale is, we would call it perceived lack of choice. There's not a commonly used word that is this exact same meaning. The perceived lack of choice is always accompanied by fear. So more commonly, you call this fear. You know that you're in a state that is you know you're in fear as it is a state that is paralytic. Your absence of a sense of choice will always paralyze you and make you feel as if you can do nothing when you must do something. Acceptance, first of all, is the middle ground between those two frequencies. Acceptance is the neutral space. Acceptance is what you step into when you understand that while you are a multidimensional soul, you're in a fourth dimensional body, so you must embrace both sides of the scale and their emotional associations. Acceptance is love descending into form. Acceptance is then the first step leading you out of the negative side of the scale to the positive. The greatest states of fear are created by and defined by the absence of perception of choice and are the very lowest end of the scale. You could call those states extreme fear or paralytic fear. I won't read too much more, but there's a lot here. And I think this ties in really well with what we're going to be diving into today with the channeling about the solar plexus chakra and the chakra system. So we are in this series of channelings about the development of all of the chakras and diving deep into them. And this will become the next channeled book. So just be aware of that in the questions and in the transmission today, that some of this may be transcribed. And it can then be in print for you to dive deeper into and dissect. And the last plug before we begin is just to mention the channeling course is enrolling now. And once we get about 3 more participants, we'll have a solid launch date. And it kind of forms in that organic way. Everyone in the group will kind of figure out what time zone works best for everybody. And we'll meet once a week for 12 sessions over a period of 3 to 4 months. And it's both a process of learning how to channel, but learning how to intuitively do healing and clearing work for yourself and others. So beyond channeling, we learn different journeying techniques, and we learn how to scan other people's energy and tap into both our own guides and past and future incarnations and that of others. We learn how to essentially alter our consciousness to tap into the information that we need. And it's something that's relevant both for those who might want to channel and also for anyone who wants to have a more of an intuitive grasp on their life and apply it to make better decisions and to see kind of behind the veils of this seeming physical reality, as there's always these metaphysical components. So I do free program consultations for those who are curious and want to know more and see if it's a fit. And I also offer it one-to-one in people who might not be called to the group format or who might not be able to make it at the exact right times. So that's available, and would love to chat with you about it if you want to dive in. And I also do private sessions where you can speak directly with the Pleiadian Council and ask about more personal concerns and go a lot deeper. As just a reminder that these transmissions are public, so it isn't necessarily the same depth that you might receive if you get a session. And we also limit the time that everyone has so that everybody in the space has a chance to ask a question. The questions are a lot better approached when they are spoken aloud, as we can really interact together, and the Pleiadian Council can access you and kind of ask you maybe some of the questions that you or they need to get deeper into whatever the topic is you're exploring. Though we also do accept you to type out the questions and somebody reads them aloud, either in the Zoom room or in the YouTube chat box. And all of this is offered freely, and donations are accepted and really appreciated for supporting me and continuing to freely offer this. So every way you support is greatly appreciated. And as I was saying with some of the people in this space, there are many ways that the social media platforms are cracking down. They've removed a lot of these different keywords that used to be able to be accessible for ads and for posts, like metaphysics, esoteric, channeling, energy healing, and so many of the things that really supported this and gaining traction. And it's so much harder than it was years ago, when ironically, of course, the depth of what is offered here is so much more than it was years ago. And it's such a pity that it has to happen this way. Though, of course, channeling and all of this was way out there before we had any of these platforms, and it worked back then through word of mouth. So encouraging the active spread of the word of mouth is really helpful in allowing this information and this energy to reach more people, so that we can really make a difference in this world and break out of some of the 3D ways of doing things. I stalled a little bit longer than normal today because a friend here is joining in person and accidentally double booked, and will be here in a moment. But without much more, we'll get started. Is there anything that I'm forgetting? Oh yeah, mute yourself when you're not speaking, please. Good to see so many people here today. I think we can begin. Yes, let's begin. This light is a little bit odd, though. I'm feeling the light's a little bit odd. What do you think? I don't particularly want partial sunshine on me. I want all or nothing. No. It's an all or nothing kind of light. But the camera was propped up so much better before. All right. Oh, it's still doing the thing it was doing. Okay, I've got it like this. It's looking good, sounding good, everything's right. We're good to begin.
Good to go.
Someone was once commenting that sometimes the camera is looking at my nose, and I really don't want that. So I'm a lot more conscious of trying to get it on my level. Okay. Hello, and we say good day to you at this moment of your time. We are the Pleiadian Council, and we speak on behalf of the Galactic Alliance, and as well on behalf of your own guides and guardians, supporting you in this process. Some of you call Ascension. It is an honor, it is a pleasure, it is a gift that you offer to us in allowing us to meet you and co-create with you in this way. And we again remind you that these reflections support both you and ourselves and all that is in expanding and returning to that crystal clear remembrance of source consciousness. For this, we are deeply appreciative, and we thank you. Let us begin with our opening message at this time. So, continuing on the subject of your expanding chakra system, we reach today the level of the solar plexus. This center is positioned at the level of your diaphragm, at the bottom of your sternum, between the floating ribs, as you could say. Traditionally, you connect this center with the color yellow. It holds the element of fire. This is both the digestive fire and the inner fire of transformation. This solar plexus center is connected with that vibration of 3, the 3rd year of development, and it has everything to do with your own sense of self, your sense of choice, your sense of who you are and what is right for you and what is not right for you. As it connects again with 3, and 3 is also connected with the 3rd dimension, therefore form, structure of your reality. This solar plexus chakra can be seen as what creates the structure of your thought forms and what creates the structure of your consciousness. The bridge between this sacral chakra and the solar plexus is that bridge moving from the realm of what is subconscious into the realm of what is conscious. And therefore, this is the level at which you make choice. The first choice that you make is about who you are. And at this level of the solar plexus, you discover this. So the solar plexus is therefore very much connected with the idea of a self-concept. And it holds the belief systems and thought forms related to self-concept, self-esteem, and self-worth. What so often happens in the development of a soul in your reality is that one's self-concept becomes distorted from a very young age. Parents often groom young beings to be like the image that they would wish them to be. Often it is basing them based upon concepts of what they learn from culture and from society of how people should present themselves. It is almost always based upon what those parents or guardians consider will help the child be successful and be acceptable. Though, as we have spoken of much before, many of these ideas are distorted in the sense that they don't necessarily point to the true inner sense of what is right for oneself. And so by being molded and groomed and asked to behave in ways that aren't necessarily authentic, this solar plexus chakra does not always develop in the clearest and smoothest of ways. The clearest place that this manifests is through choice. Here at the solar plexus level, you have conscious choice, whereas the sacral chakra is much more subconscious. It is connected to that intuitive gut feeling that you have instantly upon receiving or feeling a frequency or energy. The solar plexus is conscious and has to do with the moving mental thought forms that one has going through their head at a conscious level, and makes active choices about. Naturally, at the age of around 3, children want to make many different choices. They want to choose what they eat, how they dress, what they listen to, what they watch. And of course, many children have ideas that are ungrounded, that are impractical. Yet, even those childish requests in an ideal world would be greeted with understanding and compassion and met with logical explanations as to why the impossible is impossible. And every desire and preference would find a way to be expressed, even if it isn't necessarily what the child truly wants. Instead, so often, children are forced into totally abandoning their choice and taking on the choices made for them by others. Those who had no ability to choose their own path in these early years of their life will find more than others that this solar plexus chakra becomes very incredibly blocked. So if you are a parent or if you are in assistance to young ones, the very best thing to do for developing children, especially around this age of 3, is to present options to them. You can either have a sandwich or you can have cereal for breakfast today. And by letting that child know that they can pick between 2 things, they develop that ability to trust within themselves, to relate to their own conscious mind, to sift between the options. Whereas those children who are forced to agree with the parents or guardians will become adults and adolescents that cannot think for themselves and don't know how to process basic decision-making functions. This then later manifests as grand levels of indecision and confusion between all of the different possibilities. Confusion is one of the greatest blocks to this solar plexus chakra. It can be confusion about identity, confusion about one's direction, confusion about how to relate to the other, and so on and so forth. These levels of confusion and distortion of choice can be felt in a very deep way. And again, these materials build upon themselves. So in order to really heal and clear the solar plexus chakra, one would have to do as well the work in opening the root and sacral chakra, as we've already spoken about, and that is developing a core sense of connection to the earth and to one's community, and unraveling knots of shame and suppression related to desire, to be able to welcome every feeling and every desire that arises, not necessarily automatically acting upon it, but understanding that it is impossible to desire something negative, or rather, no desire itself can be negative. There is always a positive potential expression in a seeming negative desire. By doing this work, you then come to the level of the solar plexus chakra, in which you recognize you have choice. You can act upon this desire, or you can choose to not do that. Though if you never had the opportunity to choose and to recognize what was right for you, then this solar plexus chakra can become very blocked. This solar plexus chakra is part of what creates such an energy of homogenization in your world, because by and large, most of you don't get to experience your full breadth of choice as young ones. And therefore, you, just as you were groomed to do so, make the choice that leads you to finding seeming acceptance or seeming excess as quickly as you can. Yet by doing this, you often disown your desires and your preferences. So tapping into the solar plexus chakra is all about owning who you are and owning your preferences and making it okay to act upon them and prefer them. Now, we'll step into some other nuances about this chakra now. It is also related to thought forms and ideas. This is the mental chakra, whereas the sacral chakra is a feeling chakra. As energy travels up through the body, this is where that energy moves from a feeling state to a mental emotional state. Remember again that all emotion is always interwoven with thought forms, and thought forms that are repeated become beliefs that are ingrained within the consciousness. And this solar plexus chakra is an abyss of beliefs often for many of you. If you find at any point you have a sense of a pit or a rock in this part of your body, it is inevitably connected with knotted up belief systems that have overridden or overpowered or buried deep your true preferences and your true sense of who you are. So connecting with this level of thought and the mental emotional level means to understand that your reality is created through these thoughts and these feelings, and that you actually have the ability to direct those thoughts. When the center is very blocked, one does not have any awareness that thoughts can be maneuvered. They feel as if they are a slave to their thoughts, or that their thoughts are directing them rather than they directing their thoughts. And so mindfulness, meditation is very important to learn how to do for this particular chakra. And that is the ability to observe thought without reacting to that thought. It is the ability to notice thoughts as they arise and remain present with them and not identify with the thoughts. Remember again that all of these chakras take in energy from the outside and then perpetuate it. They cycle patterns. Chakra literally means wheel, and wheels loop around and around and around. It's as if you are all vehicles with many wheels, and as you drive on the journey that is life, other people adjust your tires and they install things in them. Or the wind blows certain debris into those tires, and it continues to build up and accumulate until you slow down enough that you can inspect those wheels and take out the debris and the installations that have accumulated so that they stop perpetuating themselves. It is important at this level to disidentify with the thoughts to the degree that you can recognize that almost everything that you think is something you are repeating from an outside source that you have then internalized. And these original thoughts are your own, yes, original conglomerations of all of the different data points that you might have taken in. Yet still, despite their originality, their origin is within all of that information you receive. So nothing you really think is ultimately your own. It did not come from you. You received it and you made it your own. And it is you that must undo those thoughts that don't really feel relevant to you and who you are. Finally, this center is the point at which you start to move consciously up into the ability to relate. It is the foundation, it is the basis that holds this heart chakra, which we will speak about in the next transmission. And therefore, it has everything to do with relating. It is your own unique preferences that line you up with the right relationships in your life. The best and most compatible friendships or romances are built upon sharing those same preferences. And why you get into so much trouble when this center is not fully developed is because you aren't honoring your preferences, you aren't acting authentically with them, and therefore the relationships you attract reflect not your true preferences, yet the conditioned thought forms that you habitually act upon instead. These then become relationships based on those inauthentic ideas that you hold, relationships that are based upon the knots in your solar plexus. And once you disentangle those knots, you will find that you are able to attract people that share your preferences, and you will be able to express your preferences with others in a way that sets up healthy, proper relations. Boundaries and preferences are synonymous. They are the same thing. Many of you have come to see that boundaries are only the walls that keep others away. Yet boundaries are porous. Much like the cell wall, your boundaries are walls, yes, but think of a cell wall. Energy comes into and out of a cell wall. And your boundaries are the individual preferences and choices that you make that determine which energies you allow in and which energies you keep out. So start to conceive of boundaries in this way. Boundaries are not just your no's, but boundaries are also your yeses. Boundaries are the border and what you decide to let through the border. And this solar plexus chakra has everything to do with your boundaries. In order to have healthy boundaries, you have to first make it okay and safe that you have preferences. And again, when you in those early years of conditioning Learn that it is not okay to want what you want and that you don't have a choice. You live through that pattern and you start to assume that your preferences or desires will either hurt other people, disrupt the flow, or be somehow inappropriate, as that is the belief that you developed based upon how you were treated. And so really clearing and undoing the solar plexus chakra has a lot to do with clearing these thought forms that have to do with this guilt and this sense of unsafety in expressing who you are and preferring what you prefer. As it becomes okay to be exactly who you are, to feel exactly how you feel, to live exactly as you wish to live, this center will open and it will create a powerful fire. Fire has many functions in your world. It both cooks and it destroys. So this solar plexus is the cooker of emotions and desires. It's what creates that pressure, almost like a volcano, to push up this kundalini energy and burn away its impurities, to let that primal and unconscious energy and subconscious energy of the lower chakras move up and eventually become super conscious, transcendental energy. Now, fire is also what destroys. And so it is this solar plexus level of awareness of thought forms and awareness of preferences that becomes truly transformational. Any energy and any emotion or thought that you don't prefer in a clear solar plexus can be burned away, can be cooked and left as pure, undistorted energy. And when the center is really cleared up, you will feel your power leading you to be able to do this. Now, this center, on a physical level, is connected with many different organs. It is connected with your small intestine, your stomach, your liver, gallbladder, and spleen. You can consider all of these centers having their own unique consciousness, and the dis-eases that manifest in each having its own particular teaching and frequency. Though in general, you can see that this very complex center relates to a lot of things. And so your ability to digest emotion then leads to your ability to digest life and the feelings that come up in the journey. When you can digest your emotion, you can digest foods and even have the power to transmute toxins that may come into you much quicker. So with a truly open and clear solar plexus center, you can ingest poison and transmute it into gold. You can take in negative energy from other people and allow it to move through you, channel through you, and transform rapidly into unconditional love. That is the power of this center. And that is the power that you unleash when you truly open to a great deal of self-acceptance of everything that is alive within you at an emotional, mental level, and at a feeling desire level. So, one moment. A final guidance for the center is that it is, after all, a solar plexus. And it's very interconnected in this way that the light of the sun is shining upon the channel. The sun is the greatest center of fire. And the fire of the sun is constantly feeding life force energy into you every single day. The sun directly connects with this solar plexus chakra. And one way to tap into the center is by connecting with the sun. Yes, through sunbathing or through sun gazing at the appropriate hours, very close to dawn or dusk. You can also visualize the golden light of the sun moving through your body and clearing yourself out as a way to access the solar plexus chakra more. If it is nighttime, you can use candles to connect with this solar plexus chakra. And yes, anytime you connect with the element of fire, you can consider that a means of activating this center within you. So, our great thanks to you for being open and receptive to this information and integrating in your life. As again, it is part of the process of clearing your entire planet's collective energy field and supporting that grander awakening taking place for all of humanity. And we thank you for being a part of it. Later, we will offer a meditation on this chakra. And now, we will continue with the questions, comments, sharings, and musings that you have, beginning whenever you wish.
Hello, Pleiadian Council.
Hello, welcome. Yes.
How are you?
Oh, we are fantastic indeed.
Yes, excellent, totally excellent. With your help until now, I'm excellent. Thank you. I have a question.
All right.
It's about the large intestine and its relationship to the chakra system. And
Yes.
the reason I'm asking you this is that my older brother had most of his large intestine removed when he was about 17. The
right.
doctors felt it should go. And I've always thought about this, I think it's affected his personality, but also there's a lot of neural activity, a bit like a brain in the large intestine.
Yes.
And it makes me think often about what is the large intestine, what's going on, how does it relate to our health, and what you're talking about, the repression or the expression of self and the chakras.
Yes. This center is primarily connected with the root chakra and secondarily connected with the heart chakra. So the large intestine is what eliminates energy from the body. It's what all of the food siphons out through. By the time it reaches the large intestine, your food has mostly been digested, and at that point, it is mostly waste, mostly toxic. And so this large intestine has to do with how you deal with base material and negative energy. And again, the root is connected with, because when you are deeply connected with the earth and deeply connected with your sense of familial or tribal belonging, you are able to release with ease because you know it is safe to do so. When this center is deeply blocked, one has fear of letting go. This fear of letting go can be there for many reasons. It is also connected with why people might hoard and take in too much energy. It's connected with why people might be gluttonous, because this fear of letting go has to do with the fear of death itself. At some point, one develops this sense that if one really releases control and surrenders to the moment, that it could lead to something very threatening. Those with a block in this center feel in a constant state of threat. This threat causes the nervous system to tense up, and it causes the large intestine to not be able to release. And so the large intestine, instead of naturally pushing out, holds in, pulls in. This can also be connected with the food one takes in, especially when it comes to taking in large quantities of red meat and complex carbohydrates, such as white flour and things of this nature. Or rather, that might be simple carbohydrates. Anyway, it is the very nutrient-stripped sorts of carbohydrates that are filler food. Also, high amounts of alcohol and inflammatory substances of that nature can cause the center as well to accumulate and accumulate more and more. Now, the reason why people consume these sorts of things is always tied into their fear. So, of course, the emotional cause is what leads to the behaviors that then result in taking in the toxins. It is, again, secondarily connected with the heart, because when you are able to open up to each other and release and relax into connection, naturally the root will open as well, because there will be a perceived sense of safety. You can also see this through the physical connection between the lungs and the large intestine. When one is able to breathe in the life force energy and breathe in love through the lungs, that naturally massages the internal organs and causes the large intestines to be able to release. So the natural pathway to allowing this root chakra to clear and open is through creating those authentic connections in the heart.
Thank you. I was obviously had that wrong because it's so close to the sacral and the solar plexus. I thought it was connected. So can I ask what biological component in our body is connected to the solar plexus and sacral?
Liver, spleen, small intestine, and stomach.
Okay.
So it
Thank
is
you.
complex. Yes, all of the chakras are connected with many different organs.
And the repression of identity you were talking about,
Yes.
what kind of medical biological conditions can occur with that?
One very common one would be SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. Generally things of this upper digestive tract, as well as liver diseases, pancreatic diseases, are also connected with the solar plexus chakra.
Thank you. It's not what I expected at all. Thank you for clarifying that.
Yes, or thanks to you.
Hello, Pleiadian Council.
Hello, yes.
Thank you for coming. Josh, can I ask my question?
Yes, you.
Okay, thank you. So
One moment.
each, okay.
And yeah, people, feel free to write your questions in the YouTube chat as well as the Zoom chat.
In the last question, did he said each organ it's related to all the chakra at the same times, or only one organ, one chakra?
Those were in relationship to the sacral root chakra.
All right, we can continue.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
So each chakra in the body is related to only one organ, or
No, each chakra is connected to many different organs.
okay, so one organ it's only related to one chakra.
No, they can also be connected to several, though they are primarily connected with one. As we have said, the large intestine is primarily connected with the root and secondarily connected with the lungs and the heart chakra. However, you can also say that the large intestine is obviously connected with the solar plexus and the sacral chakra, because everything that ends up in the large intestine first has to process through the organs associated with the solar plexus and the sacral chakra. So again, you have been trained to think of things as being compartmentalized and somehow separate, but everything is totally interconnected and totally interrelated always.
Yes, it's difficult to change the neuronal plasticity and to think differently, because in the energetical world there is no walls, and in our understanding it's walls and box everywhere, and each function
Well, that is the way that you've been conditioned, but there are beings that never receive that kind of conditioning, and therefore it is never difficult for them to experience it. So imagine being a being like that. Imagine being a being like ourselves who never learned to differentiate and separate so much. That might help you get a sense of what it is actually like to experience the true oneness and interconnectedness of your reality.
Yes. My second question is, when we are releasing energies, or even dealing with negative energies, how to know it's come from ourselves, or we are picking up from someone else or another being, and how to put the boundaries to not having to deal without knowing with releasing someone else's energies.
Well, you can listen to the thought forms that are running through your head for one, and notice, are these thought forms something that you've created or something that you have heard from the outside? And we would say this again, we'll remind you that almost everything that is, in a sense, yours was not originally yours. You received it and you picked it up from those who taught you and those who informed you. So you can recognize that while it is within your body, you've taken that in from somewhere. So even your base conditioning has come from those early childhood years of life and those people who were there with you. So even that is not essentially yours, and it is not essentially theirs either. All of this energy belongs to the collective. That can help you open your mind to go beyond this sort of sense of having to differentiate. Is this mine? Is this theirs? It is all part of the collective energy. Now, getting deeper into some of the nuance of your question, if you feel as if you've taken on energy from somebody in your vicinity and you don't want that energy, the best thing to do to create a boundary is to ask for a change in the other person. Perhaps this is a person who is talking too much in a negative way and they're saying many negative things or fear-based things, and you are starting to feel what they're fearing. You can simply ask, can we change this conversation, or could you change your perspective? Because this level of perception is also affecting me in a negative way. If somebody is not capable of doing that, you can remove yourselves from that situation. Removing yourselves from situations that don't feel right to you is often the very best way of dealing with them. You have a right to protect your energy by putting yourself in places that feel better for you.
Okay, thank you. So that's mean we are all like a blank white canvas, and in this canvas we choose to imprint the memories from all the kind of system beliefs. So my question is, when people say, oh, you are dealing with this because you carry on from past lives, so how much this past life I have to deal with? Can I discard it, or do I have the duty to heal something for
You
someone
don't
else?
have the duty to heal anything from another lifetime. Remember that when you change the present, the past changes as well. So yes, you may activate upon incarnation certain past life memories, but these will also be connected to your incarnating circumstances. Now, again, you don't need to work anything out in the past life. You only need to work it out in the present. And tools like past life regression support you in creating a change in the present that ripples to the past, using the mirror of the seeming past life to see clearly into what is taking place in the present.
Okay, but if we don't take the duty to help those stuck people or stuck memories, who will help them?
Only you can move them, yes. So if you find that these past life memories are stuck repeating, all we're doing is reminding you that it is there with you in the present because it is directly connected with some belief or some trauma or something that has taken place in your present incarnation. So you can work it out on the level of the past life memory. And by doing so, you're also clearing the present. Ultimately, the only thing you're doing is clearing the present. For when you clear the present, you clear the past as well.
Okay, so I can choose to clear the present without giving energy to those past life, and by going forward, by the fact of going forward, the effect will be healing those past life frequency as well without me thinking about it.
Yes.
Okay. So we are really a blank canvas, and we copy and paste. We choose to copy and paste negative or wrong beliefs. That's right.
Yes.
Okay. So we can undo. What is this noise? So we can undo it very simply.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Our thanks to you as well.
Hey, I have some questions from the YouTube and Zoom as well.
All right, yes.
Okay. I'm just gathering the window. Well, the first question from YouTube by Hey Dojin. A Yahyel Chandler has said that soon there will be a large-scale sighting in New York. Could this incident happen in my timeline?
Yes, it can. If it will happen in the collective timeline, it will happen in your timeline as well. So stay focused on that idea. Keep bringing and cultivating the energy of excitement. Remember, the open contact timeline is accelerated by every individual following the formula in their own right. That is, enacting their passion to their best ability without insisting on an outcome. So as you do that to raise your own frequency, you will be more of a vibrational match to the idea of open contact. And should you receive the insight to go to a specific location at a certain time, and you feel excited about it and it feels right for you, then that is also a part of enacting that formula and increases your probability of contact as well.
Awesome. And the second question by Latrim Lover. Is the opening of the third eye key to seeing and working with the elementals in the physical?
It's required that it is open, yes. You need to be able to use this third eye that is your dimensional aperture, you could say, that allows you to see into higher dimensional realities, to actually witness the realm of the elementals. Remember that elementals bend the physical light spectrum to channel their energy from a higher dimension into your physical reality. So what you are seeing is not the literal body of the being, but it is a presented image that is their means of communicating with you. So in order to connect with the elementals, you first need to establish contact with them and invite them in. State your humble and service-based intention to establish contact, and offer them a gift of some sort, such as crystal or food or some interesting plant that they would receive as a sort of offering, representing your willingness to exchange with them, and bring yourself to a quiet place in nature, or at least in a calm place within your home, and witness your environment with all of your senses, and pay particular attention to the idea of light and shadow, wind and motion, and notice the subtle things within the shadows and within fractal forms like the leaves of trees or the roots of plants or the cloud shapes or the movement of water. The presentation of elementals is very subtle in this way. They will bend the physical light spectrum to present an image that looks very phantom, to reveal to you a representation of their form, and this may come with a telepathic communication and message as well.
Awesomeness. There is a question from Jeff, who asked, 3 days ago, I was literally Superman in my dream. I was wearing a Superman suit and I could fly. At that time, I felt like I could do anything. I went to an NFL jersey clothing store, but I didn't buy it because it looked more expensive than I thought. Could you explain this dream to me? How can I better remember my dreams?
This dream is a revelation of your true power. Everyone has these abilities to ascend through the dimensions. So often this dream of flying represents your ability to fly into higher dimensions. When you vibrate with that frequency of excitement and passion, you create this accelerated upward moving energy that propels you through the dimensions, and your body might feel much lighter. You might feel as if there's a tingling and a lightness moving through your entire body. It might feel as if you are lifting off the ground or levitating. These are all reflections of that reality that you are moving and shifting into higher frequency energy. Flying is one of the greatest representations of it. To remember your dream, yes. Dreams, yes, it is important to get proper amounts of sleep, to practice some form of meditation, and to actively engage with dream recall. When you wake up in the morning, before you start to move and do too many things, think back and ask yourself, what did you dream in the night, and review it in as much detail as possible. If the next step you can do is to write the dream out or to record it into some sort of audio recording program, this would increase your ability to dream recall. The more you actively engage with dream recall, the greater it will be. And again, actively engaging in meditation often to alter your own brainwave states at will also increase your ability to deepen into dreams and to remember them with greater clarity.
That is fantastic. Mike, can you come on mic to ask your questions? Nope. Okay, so he left a couple of questions. Okay.
Okay, I can. I just didn't find the right button.
All right.
Awesome.
I couldn't find the button on the iPad to get connected again. Yes, I'd like to ask about a Russian healing device that I have. It uses frequency for healing, and it's called a Biomedes. I find it quite powerful, and for example, I'm turning it on now, so I have it in my hand. Those who are on camera I can show it. So, can you comment about this device, this technology, and also what about our iPads and the frequencies coming out of the gadgets that the mainstream is providing us with?
This device sends out a frequency that travels into the body. These different frequencies are thought to have different impacts. The frequencies are most certainly transferred. They have varying degrees of effectiveness. Understand that it is in many senses experimental. So you are most certainly receiving these frequencies, and they do impact your consciousness and impact your body's consciousness, knowing that you yourself are beings of frequency. So you can enjoy it and experiment and see which of these frequencies have the greatest impact for you. Knowing again that your conscious willingness to have your frequency altered by this device does play a role, and somebody who might be resistant to this idea or in some way using their mind to prevent that frequency alteration from happening will not have the same effect. So it is a permission slip, and again, your willingness and your excitement to engage with the permission slip plays a vital role. The technologies in your world sometimes do send out disturbing frequencies. That has gotten slightly better with time, with the implementation of built-in blue light filters. If you can keep that blue light filter on at night, for example, and not necessarily always have the device right next to you when you are not using it, the impact of them is quite minimal. Those who have very adverse reactions to these devices must work to assess their own beliefs about the devices. They might believe that this device alters their frequency in a negative way. They might believe that it distracts their attention. They might believe that it sends signals that have a harmful effect. And again, remember that belief and emotion has some of the most powerful impact on the body. And if there is enough fear behind your belief about this or any technology, it will harm you. So your beliefs are very powerful. And if you believe that the usefulness of these technologies is more helpful than the potential harm of any such frequency, then these devices can only serve you in positive ways.
Thank you. That's very clear. As you were speaking there, I was remembering that Barbara Marciniak, who I think you also have a connection with, is very strong on turn off the device, take it out of the room, don't have the device. A very fear-based message.
Yes, that channel has a lot of personal fear. And again, all channels are, in a sense, the hardware for the software of channeling to come through. Our frequency is very high vibration and undistorted, and all of you can access it. Yet if the hardware of the channel itself has many other negative beliefs and what you would consider malwares and viruses on it, then those energies are going to distort the frequency. And those of you who are very aware can still feel that there is an extraterrestrial, higher dimensional frequency coming through any channel who is tapping into them. And with time, you will be able to know the difference between what is the clear frequency of the channel being and what is the virus on the hardware. What is the negative belief within the channel itself that is causing the message to be distorted?
Sure. As I've said before, I feel something amazing during these moments right now. The moment it started, I felt something quite incredible. Is it possible that more and more people will have that experience of not necessarily channeling, but while channeling takes place, having this feeling of connection, of love?
Yes, it will happen. More and more people are opening up to this. So keep spreading the word, keep channeling in your own right. Know that when you are in a frequency of passion, you have a similar effect on others. You open that energy of clarity and that higher dimensional gateway for them.
Yes. And sometimes we encounter someone who really wants to stop that. What's going on then? That's just someone to walk away from. Right? But what's really going on?
That person is like somebody who lives in the shadows. And this higher dimensional energy is immense light. When you start to shine the light into the shadows, they see things they don't want to see. So those who resist are resisting the things they don't want to see in themselves. And they are pushing you away because the light you are bringing in will inevitably illuminate the things they don't want to see. So it is also good to be respectful of others' wishes and not force this light or this energy on anyone.
Exactly. Forcing doesn't work. Walking away is the better option.
Yes, most
Yes?
certainly.
Okay, thank you so much.
Our great thanks and love to you as well.
Thank you. Bye. I'll have to go now. Ciao. Bye.
All right. Adios for now.
Ciao, ciao.
Can I, Joseph, is there someone else?
Yes, please give a chance to others who have not yet asked any question, unless you two have to go right away.
Oh, Pleiadian Council, I would like to have a
Hello,
question.
welcome, yes.
What's your suggestion how to introduce children to the spiritual practices like meditation and qigong or yoga?
You can teach them the practice exactly as it is, but don't expect them to be able to meditate for 10 minutes. If they can meditate for a minute or even 30 seconds, that is great. The yoga is something a bit different. They could do the yoga a bit more, though let them choose the yoga poses that are most fun for them, and of course let them adjust the yoga poses according to their own interests.
And does it
Speak
make
in a language that they would understand, but again, keep it core and true to the teaching.
and does it make sense to explain what should be the result of the exercise or meditation for them?
Yes.
And how they can open the third eye? I heard about the Mark Commissaro, who is teaching the children to see with blindfolded eyes through the third eye.
That's
So,
possible. It has everything to do with imagination. So encouraging them to engage with their imagination is helpful.
okay. And another question I would like to ask is, what's the mechanics behind what we human call falling in love with some other person?
It's what happens when sexual attraction meets emotional connection, essentially. And it always involves huge rushes of oxytocin through the body. And this high frequency energy is met with whatever beliefs that individual has about love and about themselves. And those beliefs will play out in the mental stories that are told through that engagement and courtship.
And why is that? Sometimes this falling in love is not happening on the other side, so it turns to be platonic love.
Well, because one of the missing ingredients is not there for the other person. And again, those key ingredients are sexual attraction and emotional connection.
Yes, and does it mean that I was lying to myself or not sensing it
That
correctly?
experience was real for you. It just was not mutual.
Your mic is a little bit distorted, the sound of the micro.
You are speaking to us?
Yes, the sound, because we don't hear well.
All right. I don't know what can be done about that. Is it any better? Magic work.
It is your mic changed. It was good before it changed.
Magic work.
Sorry,
I don't know what to do. I'm not using a mic. I'm just using the phone.
Don't worry if you cannot do better.
Sending good energy.
Sounds like from old radio.
Is it okay?
I think maybe if you come more closer from the micro, but do whatever you can. See, if you cannot,
unmuted myself. Did that do anything?
No, it's still nothing. For now, it's good, but for the record on YouTube, it will be. Do how you can. Don't worry. If you cannot do nothing.
Yeah. Yes. Let us continue.
Okay, and my last question is, what's your take on coconut oil?
It is generally healthy. It is a bit cooling, so those who experience coolness and dampness in the body should use less of it, if not avoid it completely.
And if it's refined, is it also okay, or it needs to be cold pressed?
Cold press is much better.
And refined is also okay.
It's okay, but not as frequent or not in as high of quantity.
Okay, thank you very much.
Or thanks to you.
Hello, Pleiadian Council. May I speak?
Yes, you may.
This is Christine. Hi.
Hello, welcome.
I don't have a really formulated question. I just okay. So, but I'm asking for your counsel. So I am moved by my last acquaintances with men, and the feeling that this has stirred up in me. The last one was a particularly older man, and we met in a frame of creating a concert together, and he was a dancer, and I was my role was the percussionist, and I also did a solo actually with him anyway, and it ended to be a dance together. And I told him a bit of my background story, and he told him a bit. So he said his was a bit similar, and was so maybe you remember I have my self-esteem issues, self-worth issues, because my father used to say that music is breadless art, and I struggle with poverty issues, and it's in both my family's sides as far as I know. And anyway, particularly meeting this man has stirred up also sad feelings. And anyway, I am very moved, and I don't know, what can you say?
Moved in what kind of way? In a good way?
Yes, in a good way, and also in a sad way. And I know that he has a story. The band leader, female band leader, told us about it. It doesn't concern us, but she told us that he was married to a woman and had a son with her before they were married also. And on the day of their marriage, he met her sister, and they both, the sister and him, fell in love. And after some time also involved in a romantic relationship behind the wife's back, and it ended in another pregnancy, and then the whole thing came out. And so now he's married to the other sister and has a daughter with her as well, and blah blah. And I think I could sense his sadness, even though I didn't know him. So
So his sadness triggered the similar frequency that you have within yourself. Part of this is the response of compassion, where you are aware of that emotion. Though the emotion that is rising to the surface in you is that same emotion that you hold for different reasons. The love that you have bonds you to this person and will continue to illuminate the sadness that you have within. It is connected with that sense of lack, that sense of being deprived. That same sense of lack can translate as the lack of money, the lack of worth, or the lack of love, though they all result in that same emotion. So what you can do is cultivate that sense of opening up to recognizing the abundance, recognize the abundance of resources, recognize the abundance of talent and work, recognize the abundance of love, and continually shift your perspective to open to that while holding space for the sadness that may have been suppressed to allow it to release. As you clear the space of this sadness, you can open to greater love. To allow yourself to meet the other in the sadness can be a powerful means of connection, because oftentimes the mirror of love between two individuals and the ability for each individual to see within the other that same frequency they can hold within themselves is the most potent way for those negative emotions and old stories to be processed, released, and integrated.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thanks, Yuya.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Goodbye for now.
I may have a couple of questions. Thank you. Again, great counsel. It is amazing. Really, those interactions are just so fantastic. This co-creation is just, again, wonderful.
Oh, yes, thank you as well.
Awesome, awesome. Well, the question I have is related to the sacral root. A bit of a, I'd love a bit of your advice when it comes to digesting an encounter with a negative person or a negative, let's say, encounter.
All right. A specific negative encounter or anyone?
Let's say there's nothing really specific, mostly, let's say, handling just being around, or how does one handle a negative encounter in general?
Well, there are many different kinds of negative encounters. So each one has its own specific sort of resolution. In an ideal way, you are able to shake off the negativity of another person instantly. So, for example, if the negativity is somebody insulting you or treating you in a rude way, you can, again, disconnect from this person and restore your own sense of worth, dignity, and self-respect. If you find that these sorts of insults or rudeness leave a lingering effect of negative emotion within you, then that indicates that there is still belief systems related to self-worth and self-concept that have not fully been resolved and transmuted into a higher perspective. And so you can use those negative interactions as a way to deal with those emotional states and the belief systems connected with them. Say, for example, there's another sort of negative interaction, which you meet somebody who is in a low frequency energy and they don't necessarily insult you, but you feel their energy and it leaves an impact on you. Again, oftentimes this is, yes, an empathic response, but it is also a mirroring response in which you see in the other an emotion that is not resolved in you. And so therefore it is not as if you are taking on the energy of another person, but you are then using the other person as a mirror to see into some of your own negativity. And again, continuing to use the permission slips and tools to deconstruct your negative beliefs and return into that higher frequency become relevant in those cases. Some of the extreme sorts of negative interactions you have would involve being attacked or threatened or deeply insulted. And these sorts of interactions create a trauma response. Now, remember, traumas are not the negative things that happen to you, but the improper ways that you deal with negative things that happen to you. The first way to deal with trauma is by shaking your body and releasing. So what we would encourage is to step into a place where you can shake your body free, engage in a movement practice that helps you to release the cellular memory of it. If you feel your body is shaking or trembling, do not resist it and simply allow it. we would encourage you as well to take a warm shower and put yourself in a cozy situation, and then engage with somebody you feel very safe with physical touch if it is all right, and process what has happened to you until you find an appropriate resolution.
Thank you. That is quite amazing. And it really touches up on very intuitive strategies there. I also would like to ask, in the aspect of when it comes to physical ailments relating to the root chakra, or possibly sacral as well, what does a hernia, or what is a hernia in relationship to that?
A hernia would be an overexertion of the root. So you can think of it as pushing too hard. This usually comes with a sense of feeling threatened and overworked. It's when your sense of needing to provide or prove yourself becomes so overpowering that you don't understand your own limits, and therefore it leads to this prolapse and this collapse. So to restore and heal this, one would need to get in touch with that baseline of fear that pushes them to overexert, to get in touch with whatever stress is beneath the surface and work with natural stress releasing procedure. Again, the best releases for stress are emotional connection with others, physical touch, exercise, healthy diet, and proper rest.
Thank you. And one of the questions that Mike did not necessarily have time to lay down, but it has something to do with the chakra, is can you comment on how mothers might feel fear and thinking that they do well, actually repressing their children's choice and identity and chakras?
Yes. A mother and a parent in general, we would say a parent, it is not necessarily relevant what gender they are. So a parent must understand that one of the most primary needs is for self-expression. And so if a child wants to express themselves in some way, it must be allowed. Simply consider at which volume or to which extent it is allowed. Never shut the child down completely. Instead, orient yourself to see in which way could this action or could this desire be manifested in a way that's appropriate. Say they want a huge thing of ice cream. Instead, could they have one sweet? If they want to jump up and down and yell at the top of their lungs, consider instead allowing them to speak and jog around a little bit, but not disturb. If they want to play a game with you, find a way that you can play the game that is a negotiation that also supports both of you in meeting your needs. Never make their desire wrong. Never make their expression wrong. You can tell them it is not the right time. It is not the appropriate moment. We will do this later. And if they cry and scream, open to that process, allow that process, be present for that process, and let them feel everything they feel. Remain present and connected with them. And again, if you, as a parent, mess up in this process, that is normal, that is natural. As long as you are doing the best you can, remember that that isn't all right and that is enough. You are at least doing better than those that have come before you in that case. And that is enough to support the healthy development and healthy evolution.
Great, thanks, Council.
Oh, yes, our thanks to you.
Following just what you just said, so you are saying when we see children not behaving well, not acting freely, crying, running everywhere, that's mean it's good, or that's mean the parents are educating them freely, or it's wrong?
It's not wrong that they're doing what they're doing. And by telling them and teaching them it's wrong, you instill guilt, fear, and shame within them. You can tell them that it is not right for this particular moment and encourage them to tone it down, but don't try to shut them up. Do you see what we're saying? So if they are crying, hold space for them. Let them experience their emotion. Let them experience it for as long as they need to experience it. You can find that a consoling energy will go much further than an energy that says, shut up. If you continually shut them up, you will find that the shutting up happens again and again. And if you focus instead on consoling and remaining present, you will find that the resolution of these emotional tantrums happen much quicker.
Oh, okay, I see now. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks to you.
Someone else? Okay,
Hello,
go.
Hi, hi, Pleiadian Council. It's me again.
Hello, yes.
Following up on my last questions and what I told you. What counsel? What can you? Well, what? How? So I think I need some fatherly advice, or I think I have something to do with my father. I don't know how to express what I want right now. Some Begleitung. What is this? Accompaniment?
Yes. Well, what we would encourage you to do is to connect with some of these memories you have from your childhood, or some of the stories and beliefs that your father told you again and again. You can practice a regression meditation, also known as inner child work, to connect with these experiences and relive them, to let that cellular memory and that emotional memory release from you. Then create a new memory. Imagine that you will go back in time to meet your childhood self and be a mediator between your child self and your father. You can call in your own guides, you can call in angels and other guardians to come in and find a healthy resolution in which your child self can meet her needs and feel seen and validated, can own her creativity and experience her own desires without that negative energy coming in from her father. This will literally change your past, and will change your cellular memory, and will change the information that moves through your consciousness. This is a very powerful tool that you can use to work with any sort of negative imprint or traumatic memory.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, and what you must do beyond this consciously is to continually remind yourself of your worth. Whenever you feel that old story you've received from your father alive within you and you doubt the importance of your creativity, focus on how much your creativity has impacted other people. Focus on the moments you remember in which you felt the immense joy and power surge through your body through your creativity. Allow these memories and this understanding to become greater and more prominent than those old negative stories. And you will release that old negativity bit by bit, gradually, and be able to stand in the power of creatively flowing with your natural inclinations.
And the sadness that I feel right now when you tell me this?
It is connected as well with some of those imprints you received from your father. So the best way to deal with the sadness, in accordance with what we have shared just now, is to meditate on this feeling and breathe into it. Get comfortable within the feeling and allow it to be there, first of all. While asking this question, when was the very first time I felt this way? When was the very first time this emotion was a part of my experience? Allow that to guide you into those particular memories and those particular stories so that you can resolve them.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, great. Thanks to you as well.
Bye-bye.
Can I ask something?
All right, sure.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Now we are all like preparing to be like a helper of spiritual people because we know we are developing some knowledge. How, in your probability, when do you see the population, the people asking for our help about spirituality or advice, when people are going to be crazy, arriving at such point, they are allowing such kind of information? When do you see it happening?
Now, people are already very crazy.
Yes, but
It will happen in a greater scale. Though, if you look at it from the perspective of, say, the 90s, you would say that now so many more people are willing to open up than they were back then. So shift your perspective from lack to awareness of how many people are already open. For there are channels and websites with millions of subscribers that are all about light work, consciousness, and awakening. And this is a grand sign that the shift is already taking place. So you simply have to join those communities and actively continue to raise your vibration. By being who you are and being in connection with your higher self, you are transmitting an energy that is supporting that wave of awakening.
Okay, but in the day-to-day life, people don't ask for my.
That's all right, but you're still having an impact.
Okay, so if they don't ask, I don't have to give them, and I have to wait
You don't
for
have
them.
You can offer it. You can share in conversation that meditation, that connecting with spirit guides, and that emotional awareness are things that matter to you, and simply state that this is what I love, this is what excites me, and see if that gets them a little bit more curious. You can in this way plant seeds, not by pushing this on other people, but by simply stating, this is what I love.
Okay, okay. So in 2023 is we're starting to go like crazy.
You were already crazy on your part. You've always been crazy. You're just getting crazier to allow more of those deep-rooted patterns to be uprooted and transformed.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much.
Our thanks to you as well.
Josh, there's questions, I think, in the Zoom room.
I'm trying to find more. I think there's one last, and it was an unrelated question by Mike in regards to what are clouds? Why are they so visible and white? And what really happens on psychic or other levels when cloud blocks the sun or makes storm and cyclones?
Well, clouds are the moisture in your atmosphere that creates weather patterns and cycles. And they allow for energies and the water pathways of your world to form and transform. There are, of course, psychic levels of clouds as well. And you can practice merging your consciousness with your environment by observing the clouds and notice how they shift. You can even consciously channel your energy into the clouds and notice that you yourself might be able to influence them. The clouds can form into different shapes and patterns to present images and stories and symbols to you. So pay attention to the symbols you see in the clouds and notice the difference between symbols that you see and the symbols that other people see. Sometimes you will find there is a universal message, and sometimes you will find that this message is open to interpretation. Though yes, the clouds, like everything else in your world, are a means for entities on other levels to communicate with your world.
That is epic. I may have one last question. If
Then we may have
thank
one
you.
left.
That's awesome. Even though I truly appreciate this nonstop continuous connections from your group, it's amazing. Oh wow, okay. This question kind of splits in two. It's the aspect of relating back to the root chakra. What can you say about the idea of connecting to one's style and preferences to then have that style blend into various areas of one's life?
Well, yes, you'll have many different preferences according to the different social circles you're a part of, according to the different interests and aspects of your excitement. So you might find again that you are a different person in one setting than you are in another setting. And so that is why it is not as relevant as some of you think to have a very fixed sense of identity. Be open to what your general preferences are, and also recognize that in every nanosecond you are a completely different version of yourself. The more you accept this, the more you will be able to adapt. The more you will be able to witness that your behavior is drastically different in certain settings and with certain people. And this can be a good thing to allow you to be amorphously adapting to everything that's around you, not as a means of being inauthentic or chameleon-like, but as a way of disconnecting with preconceived notions of who you are to be so spontaneous that everything that authentically arises within you is allowed and acceptable.
Wow. And then is this in a way a form of channeling?
Yes, it is. It is the way that you are channeling yourself. As we have said before, you can channel energies, you can channel guides, but what you are always doing and have always been doing is channeling the being that you call you, channeling your personality, which is not a fixed form, but is a representation that you construct through your beliefs and through your actions.
Awesome. Great, thanks.
Yes, our thanks to you as well. And unless somebody who has not yet asked any question has something to say now, we will move on to the meditation and then end the transmission. Going once, going twice. All right. Then we encourage you to sit up nice and tall with your feet against the ground if you wish, or sitting cross-legged if you wish. Picture great roots of light that go down through your heart and out through the lower parts of your body, through the base of your spine, and through your feet into the earth. See these roots of light wrapping around the many elements of the earth as they travel all the way down to the crystal core of the planet. Feel the center as deep, sending out a resonance that travels through every layer of the earth and into your body. Feel the heat of the center and feel its vibration moving into your legs and traveling rapidly upwards. Through your knees, through your thighs, into your torso, and gradually moving upwards through your body, filling you with a deep primal earth energy. See a connection from your crown chakra that goes all the way to the galactic center, with channels and pathways that connect to many stars far beyond. Feel the energy from the galactic center travel like a waterfall rapidly into your crown chakra, filling your body with immense, powerful light that blends and merges with the earth energy. We invite you to picture yourself in a brilliant place in nature. There's a ring constructed in a clearing in the forest, right next to a cliff, where you watch the sun gradually set. Look towards the sun and feel its beams coming towards you. Open your hands to receive and open your eyes to receive. Feel the energy from the sun traveling into your body through these channels and filling you up with a great and powerful fire. Allow this fire to penetrate your cells, to travel deep within you. As this energy fills your hands, bring your hands towards your solar plexus center itself and get in touch with what frequency is alive here. How strong is that inner fire? The inner fire of the solar plexus ought to be powerful enough to transmute the energies as they arise from others. When those boundaries are clear energetically, you know what you want to take in and you know what you don't want to take in. And you know that those energies that are mirroring energies that provide a reflection of yourself can be welcomed as a means to stoke the flames here, to continue to burn all of the impurities. Release the sun, allow it to set, and move towards that circle in the clearing. And feel this fire from deep within you now. See, in the center of this circle, there's a pile of wood ready to be burned. Feel the fire from within you. Travel out through your hands, perhaps even through your mouth, and ignite this stack of wood. And as the fire begins to burn, go within yourself and ask, what old energies do you want to burn away? What old stories are you ready to burn away? What old feelings are you ready to release? Imagine pulling them out of your body as symbols that are birthed into your hand. Perhaps stories of old sadness become old toys that remind you of your childhood. Or perhaps stories of loss become empty and broken packages. Take these symbols manifesting from your inner realm and throw them in the fire. Cast away everything that does not serve. Cast away the limiting thought forms. Cast away that which you do not prefer. And suddenly someone taps upon your shoulder and you turn around. A guide who represents a mirror of your own empowerment presents you with a candle and asks you to hold it to your heart with your intention. What do you really prefer? What is authentic to you? Who do you wish to be consciously? before offering this candle to the fire as a prayer. Visualize this new version of yourself. Visualize the power coming into you. Feel the fire within you, setting flame. Imagine your body becoming very, very hot, even sweatingly hot. Knowing that that sweat, that heat, burns away the impurities. Take in the heat. And when you're ready, throw the candle into the fire as a prayer. Know that the same fire that destroys also creates. And as the fire receives your prayer, you can actualize your preferences. You can set forward those clear boundaries. You can step courageously forward, knowing your worth and accepting all the thoughts as they arise. Recognizing that none of them are yours, and those that you don't prefer, when you rest as awareness and acceptance, can be burned in the fire. It is only when you resist that you dull the flames of your fire. So do not resist and do not insist. And the flames will stay alight, continually creating warmth, digestion, and empowerment for you. We thank you for participating in this co-creation and receiving this transmission. It is a gift for us and your entire reality. And so our great thanks is with you at this day, this moment of your time, and we look forward to our continued interactions in the ways that you prefer. Okay.
Epicness.
Thank
Wow.
you, Dante.
Yeah.
Thank you. Wow.
You're very welcome. Very welcome.
Thanks, Pleiadian Council.
Super mega thank you.
Yay. Thanks for being here. I hope you all really enjoyed that today.
It was fantastic. Wow. How are you feeling?
I'm good. I feel powerful. Feel on fire.
Oof. Yes.
Yeah.
Josh is going to how do you say in English? It's going to explode.
It
Perhaps.
already happened a couple of times.
In a good way, I hope. In a good way.
In a great way.
To explode or to ask Dante in marriage.
Now we gotta ask where you look in your timelines.
All right. So yeah, thanks everybody for participating and being here today, and for always showing up with your beautiful presence and questions. And a reminder that you can donate if you like on the DanteStarshine.com. The info is on the contact /book a session tab. And the most amazing way to support is also by sharing this so many others can tap into it and receive it. And yeah, thanks again for being here, and hope to see you next week for the next transmission.
Thank you for the 2 time for this week for doing session 2 times.
Yeah.
Your work it's fantastic.
Oh, great! Yeah, I was
And
kind
I
of
can-
curious to see how the 2 times would be different. Who would show up for one versus who would come for the other. There was a lot of people here in the beginning of the call for sure.
Yeah. And I can vouch for the channeling course. Guys, seriously, look into it. The intuitiveness that it brings out, it is a difference between day and night. Or if anyone plays video games, being level 5 to actually having level 99. No joke. The amount of like amazing discoveries that are brought in there, I can't even word it long enough. I think the testimonial I did was like 30 minutes, and I'm like, but there's so much more to explain. You know?
Amazing.
Yes,
Yes,
Josh
yeah.
said he can hear some channeling now since he did it. That is true?
I do it in a different way, but it's mostly the intuitive connection that it brought and various kinds of just deeper understanding, especially the aspect of, again, once I realized that the word imagination that we were given in society was complete lie, and how you helped me further understand how these connections are made, how to play with it, and then to test it. Actually having the experience was just what broke everything open for me. So I like, again, thank you for that. It's amazing. And that's why I highly recommend it. I tell people, it's about having the experience. Remove your old beliefs and just test it, put it to the test, and you'll see.
Thank you. Yeah.
Dante, it's a destroyer of walls. He destroys the walls of concepts.
Yeah. Burn it away.
I wanted to join, but I'm not manifesting enough money for now. But when I will join the course.
Right. Yeah. And there's a payment plan too. I don't know if that's clear. Like, a lot of people pay every month, like whatever they can afford, and stop paying when they have finished the payment. So that's also an option.
Okay, is it from, do you use a Cloudmat? Because there is now facility of payment like Klarma Society. I don't know,
I don't
many.
use that, but I use TransferWise, and it has a very good international rate, and it's really easy to use.
Ah, great. Thank you. I will look at this.
Wise.com. I can send you a referral link too if you want. That'll make the first transfer free. Anyway.
I will write you on Messenger.
Okay, great.
Thank you so much.
Beautiful. So yeah, would love to get the next channeling course running soon. And also, like I said to everybody in the beginning of the transmission, if you can send me the time that you would most prefer for channeling, I'd love to just see what time will work for everyone, and maybe I can really meet people in that. And if it means doing it later, I'll suck it up for one night a week, because I'm getting a lot better with my energy levels and staying up a bit later and being focused later, which I wasn't always the best at. So yeah. Yeah.
You got this. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks
You-
again,
you-
Dante. Thanks
You're
again. And
welcome.
just to
Yeah.
tell you, your audio now is fine again. It was
Okay.
during the channeling there was disturbance, and now it's fine again.
That's really weird. I don't get what that was. If I
Yeah.
put the phone down, is it bad again?
No, it's good.
Okay, well, maybe we just needed a bit of distortion to make it interesting.
All
Good to
right,
connect
thank
with you,
you.
Christine. Yeah, have a great day.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, so hope to see you later, everybody, and have a great day. And again, the book is available. Oh, don't do that. I'll show it one more time. Shiny, pretty book. Check it out. And much love. Have a great one.
Much love. Have a good holiday.
Thank you. Bye
Much
bye.
love. Bye-bye.
See ya.